whether it's clinical or it's diagnostic. I think diabetes is one of the most talked about and most researched topics in the recent human history, the modern medical history. And a lot of researches are going on the preventive measures for it, the clinical conditions in which we can treat it.
Yes.
But nobody really talks about the reversal of it because it sounds very, impractical in nature, and not very many people have gone through it. We don't see so many success stories floating around. But you are a rare example of the people who have successfully reversed type 2 diabetes. It sounds very magical. Hi Siddhant, how are you doing?
Hi Anuja, truly amazing to be here with you at Popp Dapp, and it's always a pleasure to chat with you.
I think this feeling is mutual. And Siddhant, we are so thankful to you to be connecting to us, and we are so glad to have you on this platform and looking forward to this amazing conversation of ours.
Likewise, I'm truly looking forward, and it's very rare that I share openly about my insights of my journey, and it's always nice to speak to your viewers and people who can learn something from our podcast. So really excited for it.
Thank you so much. So, Siddhant, if we talk about the recent medical, the researches which are going on, whether it's clinical or it's diagnostic, I think diabetes is one of the most talked about and most researched topics in the recent human history, the modern medical history. And a lot of researches are going on the preventive measures for it, the clinical conditions in which we can treat it. So whether it's like insulin, it's edible insulin, or anywhere in the world, I think doctors are more than happy to talk about it.
Yeah.
But nobody really talks about the reversal of it because it sounds very impractical in nature, and not very many people have gone through it. We don't see so many success stories floating around. But you are a rare example of the people who have successfully reversed type 2 diabetes. It sounds very magical, right? So, if you can just walk us through your journey in which you did that. Because one thing we are very clear about is the fact that our lifestyle changes, the way in which we can make the dietary tweakings in our daily habits, it can, in a way, prevent diabetes to a greater extent. But how do we reverse that? I think, nobody is very well aware about that. So if you can just walk us through this amazing journey of yours, how you did that, and, what are the challenges that you faced in your journey?
So I'll tell you first of all, thank you for your question. I'll begin with a little bit backstory of my life. My father was type 1 diabetes, which was hereditary. But luckily I didn't have the hereditary disease, but it was type 2 was my lifestyle. Actually it all started with Bombay. I'm born and brought up in Bombay. Shifted to Calcutta, coming to a new city, not knowing anyone, that also at a time got me at a stage where I got into a little bit of a depression as well. I don't much talk about, obviously when you come to a different city where you don't know people, you come to a new atmosphere, and that also not as a child. I came straight after my education. I did my BBA abroad and came down when there was a separation in my family, internally, and we bought the company, and the head office being Calcutta, I had to move down to Calcutta with my family. At that time also my father never used to keep well, and there was a lot of burden on my company as well. So everything led to a little bit of depression, unorganized way of eating habits. At that time you never used to think so much. I was much younger. I was in my 20s when we shifted. So I think it's an overall factor of all the things. It's about your social factor. It's about the changes which bring inside you. You don't at that time don't think what you're eating, what you're consuming. You don't think everything or your health goes for a toss completely. Where it came to a stage that I became 106 kgs. And my fasting was 225. When my mother one day just woke me up and said that I'm going to take you to the doctor and I'm going to just get you tested. You can't keep living your life in depression. Now that you are here, you have to make your ways and get into the family groove, the business, understand everything and change your lifestyle. And then when my doctor, I have a family doctor called Mr. Dr. R. Sadiq from Calcutta. He's a very well-known family physician of ours. He told me that, Siddhant, you don't mend your ways right now. what you're spending right now at the doctors, you'll be spending double the amount in the hospitals, and it will just also create a big um, problem not only for you but see the surrounding your family. Everyone, obviously, if you suffer, your family suffers with you, as I always say. So you need to have a strong willpower and decide what you want to do. Do you want to continue this lifestyle and go into the hole, or you want to take it up as a challenge and make everyone happy and surrounding, and you yourself be happy? So that gave me a jolt in life, and then I realized that my body is not my enemy, it's telling me something. And from then I started my journey. Luckily I was only into medication, not into insulin. And it was at that time, because normally insulin patients have to have regular meals, but I used to do intermittent fasting, which also really helped me a lot. I started wearing a step tracker and started doing my steps, counting my steps. I used to do about 10 to 15,000 steps a day. I changed my diet changed, and I became totally lactose free as well. So there was a lot of mixed things which I did in my own journey and my own life that helped me come out of this.
It's really amazing, Siddhant, and I think you have talked about the way in which your mental health played a major role in that. So the conviction behind that, the family support that you have had in your transition as well. You've been in Mumbai throughout your life.
Yeah.
Then you have moved to Kolkata. So it's like a huge cultural shift that you faced.
Yeah.
So I think that is also one of the major reasons in which our mental health goes on a toss, because we cannot gel well in the different societies that we are living in. And when you are on your own journey, which is very different from a normal journey that we think about, I think it takes a lot of conviction on your mental health as well in order to go through that journey smoothly. So what all the things you did in order to keep your mental health in check? Because see, one thing is getting your diets in place, getting your regular activities in place, and another thing is doing it for your lifetime.
Yeah.
So if you have to do it for a month, let's say a year, we are charged enough to do it. But once it becomes our lifestyle, that we have to do a certain sort of like a tweaking in our lifestyle for throughout the life. So it takes a lot of hard work on your mental appetite as well. So what all did you do in order to keep yourself motivated throughout? And it's
there were
still you're doing it.
There were a lot of factors to this. Number one was my daughters. When my daughter, I still remember the day I went to school with her, to drop her to school, and I just overheard one of the parents saying, it's very unfortunate that people are not conscious about their own health. And I just overheard that, when just dropping my daughter, and that person just was staring at me. I felt uncomfortable at that time, and even my daughter, I could see embarrassment in her face. When she heard something like this about her father, because obviously for every daughter, the father is the role model or a hero. So that itself gave me that spark that if not for me, at least for my daughter, I need to be a role model for her. It has to be basically, even my daughter's life, today if they look at the journey or the habits which the parents are imbibing, it automatically rubs on their children. So, I also didn't want that my daughters to feel embarrassed of me in any way, or I would not want them to live a lifestyle which I have and I have suffered. Didn't want them to get into the grind. So this thought, as I wake up every day, Anuja, first of all, I'm always in gratitude. Thanking God that the God has given us one life. You have to be thankful and live each day with a smile. That's what I've learned, in this whole journey also. No matter how many problems you will have stress. Yes. But unless you don't have stress, you'll never come out of it, and it's a part of life. No one has a perfect life. Even the richest families in the world have a lot of problems, in their own internal way. But I think it's the way you come out of it, keep challenging yourself every day, that's very important. So that itself is a motivation for me. So at the time when I was going through this whole phase, I had this one lady from Empeza Wellness. She didn't charge me any money, okay? She just saw one of my stories, or she knew one of my wife's friends, and she took my number and called me out of the blue. I didn't know her. So when she called me, she said, Siddhant, I said, hi. She said, hi, I'm calling from Empresa Wellness and I'm the founder. I really want to help you. I got startled, I said like, who would call you out of the way and just say, I want to come and help you? And she said that, no, I want to help you and I'm not going to charge you any. And I was more, I was thinking it's a prank call or, someone out of the blue just making fun of me in some way. So she said, just try me out for a couple of months. If you feel you are not feeling good while talking to me, you don't have to practice anything. Just talk to me. Every day in the morning at 8 a.m., I will call you and wake you up and just talk to you for 10 minutes. So she used to call me up every day at 8 o'clock and just motivate me. It's a new day, Siddhant. It's a new life. You have to go to work. Look at the smile. She used to call me up every day at 8 o'clock and just motivate me. It's a new day, Siddhant. It's a new life. You have to go to work. Look at the smiling faces of your children and just give that positive vibe for those 10 minutes, every day. And I was surprised, when I was thinking to myself, when someone is, actually going out of the way, calling me up from their schedule without charging any money and asking me my well-being, who does that in today's world? I don't know if anyone does that. But she used to do that. And, she used to do that, and that also, saw that, other people are also wanting there to help you. There are people, good people in the world who are there to help you and to show you the right path. So it's a mix of everything, and obviously I had a very strong willpower. My willpower is really strong because unless you don't have a strong willpower, no matter you go to 100 nutritionists, no matter you show yourself to 1,000 doctors, that inner calling doesn't come out, nothing changes. So, it's a mix of all, I would say, honestly.
That is so beautiful, Siddhant, and I think you've talked about being an embarrassment for your daughter, and the tables have turned like 180 degrees because now you are a source of inspiration for your daughters and for a lot of people on your, contact list. So anybody who sees your story, anybody who watches your Instagram, I think they have something or the other to learn from you. Whether it's your lifestyle that you are living right now, whether it's the kind of journey you have had, whether the kind of aura that you have, I think everything has something or the other to provide to your viewers. So coming to your, Instagram and the kind of work that you do, we'll come to your podcast later. But firstly, I would want to ask you that what inspires you to create content? Because you're a content creator yourself. So you, first of all, you wear so many hats, whether it's being an influencer, whether it's being a podcaster, whether it's, your kind of lifestyle that you live. So, you do a lot of things. And of course, your stable business that you are running. So these are so many things and none of this is, going in tangent with each other. So everything is like something is to do with your creativity, something is to do with your, artistic side, something is to do with your business side, you're an entrepreneur. So these are so many things. So whether it's so many hats or so many feathers in your hat. So I would want to ask you that what actually inspires you in life?
So as I told you, when I shifted from Bombay to Calcutta, my family, we are basically into aviation. We are one of the largest importers of aircraft and aircraft spares in India. And we supply to all the government, flying schools, charter companies, corporates. And I'm actually the fourth generation running. But when the separation happened between my uncle and my father, and when I was studying abroad, my uncle sold the company to us with a lot of liability. My company, when I shifted, and I remember still the first day when I went to work, I was just, my minds were not working because I didn't know where to start. I was just getting notices from banks and, there were so many liabilities pending. The staff in my office were not cooperating. Obviously, they were more of my uncle's loyalists. So, everything, nothing was sinking and there was no one to guide or mentor me that time. But at that time, and also as I said, my father never used to keep well, he never used to go to work. So that was just dependent on me and my mother. My mother again was a housewife. So we all living from Bombay had to move suddenly one day to Calcutta. And, understand the integrities of the business was not easy. But still, my mother was also a strong lady. She also made sure that, she used to go every day in the morning at about 9 o'clock and come home at about 8 o'clock in the evening. At the same time, even I started going with her to work and just understanding, not knowing anything, but just sitting with the people going, you're hearing their conversations, what is happening, just trying to get into the groove. And then slowly by slowly, we decided, so I started talking to my suppliers, my customers, started building their trust, and eventually we came out of the drill, and today I'm a profit company. So, that also took a time, that's the whole thing. But obviously, when you're running a family legacy business, that is something also I wanted to continue with. Never wanted to just give up and focus on my own personal dreams. But then again, when I got out of getting this company into a good stature, I thought to myself, what about my own personal interest and passion? Today, what about that? I've got one life. I just don't want to just continue doing everything for the sake of it. I want to also be happy to create something. And I've been passionate about a lot of things, Anuja. I'm very fond of cooking. I'm very fond of writing. I'm very fond of fashion. So I still remember when I was a child, I used to throw like tantrums to even wear the same matching outfit when going to bed with my mom. So, it's always been imbibed in me, it comes out very naturally. So I thought that whatever passion I have, I would like to try and pursue it, and if God thinks it's right, it can turn into a business. So the same thing I started with even my health snack brand when I was going through my diabetes, called Crunch and Munch. Because snacking is such a big industry in today's time, but I feel that healthy snacking is a very limited option. A lot of people are Jain, a lot of people are into gluten, want gluten-free snacks, they want less oily snacks. So I said that why not get into a segment where, because snacking, people want to have midnight snacks, they go out, they travel, it's such a big industry. So I said, well, let's start with a couple of SKUs. I still remember I started with only 50,000 rupees when I started the first thing, with only one city, Calcutta. And today it's been about almost 3 years. I'm in almost 8 cities, metropolitans as well as renowned cities, as well as I'm online. And I'm clocking a good turnover of about 20-25 lakhs per month. So it's gradually increasing and increasing, with time. And the brand also is being loved because of the quality of the products, and also because of my personal journey when they relate with it. Then that trust factor also comes in place. Because I would never want to give a product where it's not consumed by me myself also. So I always believe that anything I do or any product I want to launch, I would try it on myself first, then give it to others. So this is something about my health snack brand. The same way I was fond of home decor brand. I'm fond of home accessories, collecting art, collecting paintings, collecting sculptures. So that is what me started into again import of home accessories. And I had my own karigars and my technicians to work on my own passion designs, which created a story behind them. So that was my second startup called The Home Story. Then I started a cloud kitchen because I was fond of cooking, as I said. I started with a Lebanese and a Mexican cuisine. I started in my own kitchen, to start cooking, and every Sunday I cook for my kids. So, one day I found my recipe books, my uni recipe books, and I thought I'll give it a try. And I started enjoying it. So I thought I'll start something to give it to others as well, because the Lebanese and Mexican options in Calcutta is very limited. So that was another thing. And obviously the fourth one was my House of SDJ, which is a fashion streetwear brand. So that again, I got a couple of artists involved, and whatever things I like wearing, I like drawing. So they use paints, glitters, making it more, glittery and fancy, and so more of my personality being imbibed in the cloth. So it's a mix of everything. So I never restrict myself into one startup, but whatever I'm passionate about, I like trying and exploring that.
That is beautiful, Siddhant, and I think one thread which I can, detect in whole of your, the hat, all the hats that you're wearing, is that you don't want to confine to the limits of your personality. You want to explore more and more things. And one thing which is constant in everything is your creativity.
Yeah.
You are creative as a person, so you don't just want to be a businessman. You want to stretch your legs to different domains.
Yeah.
And especially the times that we are living in, everybody has a story to tell. And the platforms that are coming, whether it's Instagram or YouTube, I think people have enough platforms to share their story on, and you are a storyteller yourself. So do you have a strategy in giving out the content that you do? be it your healthy snacking brand or your podcast or your business. So do you strategize your content and then decide upon what to put out, what to confine to yourself, or it's just it goes with the flow, whatever you feel like you post, whatever.
Honestly, Anuja, when I started, the podcast was never in my mind. The reason I started podcasting was basically a lot of people I see, who I meet, I talk to, they themselves have such a big story, but they don't realize it. A lot of times you don't realize what you've done, unless you share it. You take that nostalgia out, sometimes from those people, and they also feel good. And a main reason to start my SDJ podcast was to motivate the youth. So in every podcast, my last question, if you see, will always be from any of my guests on my podcast, a positive message for the youth. It's a constant question I ask in every of my podcasts, because I see that, children after the age, probably after they finish college, they don't know what profession to take. So they are confused in their head that, what should I do after college? They're still not clear. So as I also, I don't stick to one subject. Like, not, for example, I'm not sticking to only nutrition, or I'm not only sticking to a particular celebrity or art. I'm doing a mixed, a whole buffet of guests come to my show, where they are experts in their own different fields. So today, when the children or the Gen Zs of today, I would say, hear the podcast, and they can choose any of their preferred subject, and they can learn from that expert who's been in the podcast with their own journey, the whole hustle that has gone behind it, and take out some learning. So just helps them to get a more clarity in terms of if they want to pursue that trade or not. So that was actually the main reason I started this. And I remember, my first podcast was with Mr. Yash Birla, and he's been a fitness, he's been an inspiration into fitness for so many years. So that was my first podcast, and even the learnings which he was talking about, the viewers even listening to it, as me as an fitness fanatic also now, I got inspired. Sometimes you yourself get really inspired just listening to the other person talking, so that also is a big learning for me. So this is the main reason why I started my SDJ podcast. About my crunch and munch, which you said, again, I told you that, I would like India as an economy to be more healthy in terms of being more mindful while eating. Even what I've suffered, I don't want people to be an example, see what I've gone through, and to go through that whole grind. That's why I've written a book also on my transformation called Live Life the Healthy Way. That was my second book which I wrote. So so all this combined, and one thing which is stuck to me, and my motto, I would say, is believe in yourself, believe who you are and who you can be, so that is one principle that actually helped me, and it's made me go a long way.
Great. I think that's like a very interesting thought to hold on to. And you have addressed the elephant in the room, which is the Gen Z, and the kind of podcast that you're doing. It has a lot of, it is creating a buzz around the youth that, they're looking forward to things. Because, see, everybody is very, they're getting inspired by different content which is available on internet. But most of the things are very transactional in nature. Yeah. But you are an entrepreneur yourself, you have had your journey, so people can at least relate to you in a way that they can look up to you and achieve certain things in life. But from the place that you are coming from, you didn't have the luxury of looking at a success story that you have become yourself right now. So if you have to give a particular advice to probably say 20 years of age of yourself, so what advice would that be when you were Gen Z at that point?
Obviously at that age, I wish I would have been in a generation of today's Gen Z, because they are more risk takers. I feel they are much more risk takers. They are more creative. Obviously, we didn't have that kind of technology back in our day. But you see with AI coming in and so many things happening, things have changed. But I wish during that time when I was growing up, I would actually tell myself, that patience also plays a big important role. It was my patience also which actually helped me achieve all this. I always believe that everything has a right time and a right moment for you. And whatever opportunity you get, you should always grab it. don't let them go. So, if I had to tell myself probably 20 years younger, I would look at the mirror and say that, well done, Siddhant. You have realized at the nick of time what needs to be right, what needs to be wrong. And yeah, just be the go-getter and keep inspiring people.
Beautiful. I think, the 20-year-old Siddhant would be very happy to get that advice and would get motivated by what you were saying. Siddhant, I think the main source of happiness that we have throughout our journey, that keeps changing. When we were younger, I think a lot of materialistic things were very exciting for us. Once we grow older, we think about life in a different way. We go through different experiences, and success hits very different at every stage of life. And you have tasted some part of the success at every decade in your life. So, let's say when you were 20 years old, I think at that time you were a lot more, a hustler by nature. You wanted to go to different heights to achieve things. And right now, as we can see, you're very composed. You know what you're doing, and you're not in a haste anymore. You have achieved, a lot of things in your life. So, if I have to ask you that, what gives you true happiness right now? Whether it's a new podcast that you're shooting, let's say tomorrow, or it's the bottom line of your business. So what gives you more happiness at this stage of your life?
What you said, Anuja, is completely right. I'm 42 years now. I've probably lived
We
half my
can't
life.
believe that.
I've probably lived half my life now. I've gone through all the stages, all the ups and downs which had to hit me, has hit me. So now basically, besides all the accolades or any kind of appreciation or anything, as you said, for me, if today one person also, changes their life, listening to either whether it's my podcast, they tell me that, Siddhant, we got inspired by you today. And I still remember, when I remember I reversed my type 2 diabetes, I had this one gentleman who messaged me on Instagram from Maldives. Okay, and he told me that he had type 2 diabetes, and he was so motivated that he bought my book. He used to message me every day and tell me on my face that, Siddhant, I followed your practice, and it's because of you my diabetes is in control. You can't be more satisfying and in more gratitude when you have live examples messaging you and saying you that. So that itself it's such a big good moment and a proud moment when even one soul is inspired by your journey. So I don't think anything is more satisfactory than you being the voice for others and helping others with your own personal journey. So as you said, besides always obviously a recognition is always good. When you do good work, people recognize. You do different things, people recognize. But the true happiness, which I would say that my soul feels happy, is when I get those private messages from people who I know or don't know, saying that I've made a difference to their life. So yeah.
That is absolutely beautiful, and I think the way in which we see you from a different part of the world, I think it's very evident in the whole personality of yours that you don't crave attention anymore. It's more about what you are actually giving to the society. It's about giving back, whether it's in the form of stories that you present, whether it's in the form of conversations that you do, or the kind of business that you're running. There is a hardcore, essence of care in that. So your personality speaks care a lot. So now when we talk about your personality, a very eminent part of your personality is your fashion sense. The kind of, you have an amazing persona when it comes to styling, when it comes to fashion, when it comes to the way in which you carry yourself. So, you said that, fashion came to your life very early in your, in your life. When you were younger, you used to choose your own clothes. So, that part of the life, fashion is very, it's just, a part of your lifestyle. It's just that, you want to dress well, to look good, to impress people around you. And right now, it's become just a part of your being. So when we talk about fashion, so is that a conscious effort from your end to look a certain way, or it just comes naturally to you that you pick and choose a particular thing in your wardrobe and it works? So which way is it?
No, so I'll tell you honestly, fashion for me is my soul. It's a part
Yes.
of me, I would say it's my soul when I say, when I even get up in the morning, as I said, when I was young, I used to fight to wear matching nightwear with my mother. At that sense, for me, at that age only, I was very inclined. Icon Award 2025 by Young Leaders Forum this year. So, they also, so people I see that, see, I'm a person who's never cared what people think. Number one, no matter if the way I dress certain way, people judge, don't judge. I always used to feel that whatever I'm happy and I'm comfortable in my own skin, I'll do it. So today when I go to work also, and I would tell, in fact, everyone watching us today, you know, presenting yourself in a certain way is 50% of your battle won. You need to be in a certain way for different occasions. Like today, you can't just wear a shirt and trousers for a party, for an office, for a function, for baby shower, for everything. You can't just have one attire. You have to evolve. Even if you are not comfortable, try going out of your comfort zone. But because I've been doing this from such a young age, so it's been a part of me. I would say I've grown up that way. Today, when I go to office also, even if I'm wearing a shirt and a trouser, I will obviously I'll put on some kind of an accessory, some kind of I'll make a little tweaks to it, to just make it a little more fashionable. So that comes very naturally to me. It's never been like I had to force myself or, do something totally different or, hire a stylist. I've never needed to do that. So it's always been an inborn thing with me. And even when people ask me for advice, I say just be yourself, be confident no matter whatever you wear. Even if you wear a shorts and a nice t-shirt or anything, when you talk to people, when you walk, when you have that, that whole posture, when you are going somewhere, it's just that entire persona of you is fashion. It's just the entire, so that is how I see it.
Amazing. And I think it's coming out very well in your personality. And, by far we have talked about all the cozy parts of your life in which you have achieved so much, whether it's your personal journey, your professional journey. And I'm sure you must have had your hardships, your hard times, bottlenecks in your life. And of course, right now also you must be facing your own challenges in your life. So, what fuels you in those moments when you are low, when you're feeling low, when you don't feel like doing something, and you have a lot of things on your plate to deal on a day-to-day basis? So it's not that you can just retire from everything for even for a day. You have to show up. You have to go to your office. You need to be there for your family. So when you're feeling low, when you're not feeling yourself, so how do you pick yourself up? What's your fuel? What's the mantra that you give yourself to hook yourself up and just keep fighting the battle of life?
First of all, what I've started doing now, Anuja, is in my office, I put on some kind of a nature music throughout, which keeps playing. That's also one thing. Music is the best therapy. I would say, even if you're having a stressful day, you're having problems, there's not one human being in the world who doesn't have problems. But, it's the way you handle your problems, it's the way when you need to switch off, you need to switch off. You can't carry your problems to the house. So, for example, when I come home after a work day, I will not show, even though if I have some problems in my office or in any part of my life, I will not show it in my house. Because I have my children, I have my wife, I have my mother. I don't want them to see anything. I want them to feel that everything is normal. Because your problem is your problem. You can't give your problem to others, number one. You need to be able to handle it and you need to know when to switch off. You cannot always keep thinking 24/7 about that. Because what if you do that, it'll affect your health. It'll just get worse. So I always believe that whatever I do, every day when I wake up, number one, I thank God for a new life. I go to work, I see that, what is the problems. If it can be solved by me, it's good. If it cannot, then I speak some advice from some experts of my company, consultations and things like that. And that's how I take it one step at a time. But as I said, every problem has a solution. And today, everything you do, even when it comes to my own disease, I thought it was impossible to do it. reverse it. But then there were solutions, and it's just about how you look at life. It's all about your perspective towards life and your positive attitude, I think. Because a lot of people, if you do not have a positive, a consistent, and that spark inside you all the time, don't let that spark die out, I would say. Because if that dies out, you will only be drowned in problems. You have to always be in gratitude and find solutions to any problem you face.
Amazing. So, Siddhant, what do you do when you switch off? I mean, what's your leisure day looks like?
Reading.
So, what do you enjoy doing?
Reading nursery rhymes to my 2-year-old daughter. That is one. And spending some quality time playing board games with them, going for a drive, just being. And then sometimes also after, when they are in bed, I give myself 10 minutes just to be on my own, to be on myself without anyone coming. That's also very important, which I call the me time. That me time is also very important to give yourself every day, to feel everything, the good vibrations, what you've done in the entire day, and just have a whole summary out of it. So everything, and in today's time, everyone's got busy schedules, everyone's got hectic lives, but obviously you need to find time to balance the 4 mantras of your life: your work life, your social life, your friends and family life, and your personal life. If you balance all these 4 well, I think life is good.
That's amazing. I think this is going to be a quotation for a lot of people after this interview. They want to note it down, they want to read it every day and make it like an affirmation for their future. So I think it's all of the things that we've discussed so far, they have been like a quote from a book. Because anybody who is struggling in their life, whether it's their personal journey or their professional journey, or even just the kind of work that they want to do, I think they have a lot of things to learn from you. So then, what's coming in the future? What are you currently working on?
So, company right now, I'm focusing on my family business also to expand. Looking for lands to start even workshops for aircraft, because right now I'm just importing the aircraft and the spares and supply. But at the same time, as you buy a car, you send it to a workshop for a regular maintenance. Same thing I want to do with my aircraft. So that is something I'm working on. Secondly, I'm working on again my podcast. That will never stop, because there is a voice which I want everyone to hear, especially for the youth. So that will keep getting very distinguished and very different kind of guests who have a good story where people can learn from. In my startups, there'll be a lot of more variance in the health aspect in terms of crunch and munch. So every month we release 4 to 5 new SKUs, different menus coming in for my cloud kitchen, the Buna Comida. So everything, there's going to be some sort of, more and more things coming out from different aspects, whether it's my startups or my family business, as well as my own personal branding. So I'm currently doing a lot of launches. I'm doing currently a lot of for luxury brands. I'm doing a couple of guest listings for nice F&B brands. So and also a lot of shoots. So brands often ask me, to shoot for them, make a reel, make a story. So I'm doing a lot of things, where I can contribute in my own way. And if it helps the brand, I'm always happy to help and support.
Amazing. And I think we as a team, we would like to wish you all the best for all the future endeavors that you are getting into. Everything that you are doing is amazing, and I'm pretty sure that everything that you get into in the future is going to be equally amazing. And Siddhant, we are so thankful that you've come to our platform, and it's like a complete unfiltered conversation that we have had. And I personally have learned a lot from you from this conversation. And since the time you've gotten in touch, I think my team is equally excited about you being there with us, whether it's in our magazine, now on this podcast, and we want to have you in our office very soon. So thank you so much for that. And we're looking forward to seeing more podcasts of yours, more books to read that you have written, and many more content that comes to your Instagram. Thank you so much, Siddhant.
Thank you, Anuja. It was such a lovely time chatting with you, and even the questions which you asked, which is so relevant in today's time. Because I think relevancy is very important. When you connect with the people, what they are going through. So, in layman words, which when I talk, so people relate to what you say. And today, whatever I've faced, whether it's my struggles, my success, anything, it's been my journey, and everyone has their own journey. And I would just give one message before we end this, that
Sure.
never be disheartened. Failure is a part of success. Unless you don't fail, you won't know what's the taste of success. So if you fail, it's not the end of the world. I see a lot of people, are trying to suicide, trying to end their lives, at a drop of a hat, which they are disheartened. Don't do all that. Life is very precious, and God has really given you a good life. And I'm sure there will be a time where you'll get out of all your problems. It's not going to be for lifelong. So give it
Exactly.
time. So I think this is one message I think I would like to tell, especially the youth and the younger generation who are losing patience and they want quick results. And it's very important for them to realize that everything is not happening in a heartbeat or a switch. You have to give it time. Even if you're passionate about any startup and you think you have done your 100%, keep sticking to it. Don't just give up if one doesn't work. If one door's closed, the other opens. So keep trying that. So that's what I've also believed all my life, never give up. And I'll always
Exactly.
keep doing that. So, I would like all my people, and, India is such a big country of talent, so, and every individual has their own talent. So I think just realize your talent and trust me, you can shake mountains. So, yeah.
Brilliant, Siddhant. I think India is the biggest market right now.
Right.
It's the biggest economy that is growing like anything. And health is the major currency that we're
Yeah.
dealing into right now. So, what you have talked about makes complete sense to this world that we are living in, and also for the future generations to come. So, thank you so much, Siddhant. Here, I would want to end this podcast. We don't want to have end this conversation, but since the limitation of time that we have, we would have to close it over here. So, thank you so much. Lots of love to your family, to your kids, and I think you have amazing, beautiful daughter. We know her, so it's so nice to get in touch with you. Thank you so much.